The 9. Gathered round a blazing campfire, flame of white like pure magnesium, sat a group of men of learning. All had found their way with reasoning. Each had spent a life in study, each had found his deeper wisdom, yet knew naught of any others. Each had made a spirit prison. Said the one who carried with him nothing except the staff he walked with, on his belt a carved mandala, set in which were grains of barley. Once upon a time in Asia did the son of Suddhodana leave the wheel of incarnations, teach the eightfold path with patience. Answered one who bore a tablet made of stone. This etched upon it bore the ancient Varavaha, winged disc and hieroglyphics. Once upon a time in Persia lived a man named Zarathustra, true of mind and true in speaking, undiluted starlight seeking. Speaking next, a bearded poet stroked his chin and touched the symbols woven on his woolen long coat, winged heart, the moon and lone star. Heights are reached, my native mystics, yet the greatest peak of learning is our own, and few have reached it. Sufi spinners rise by turning. Here upon our cloud unknowing, sighed the mystic Christian fathers, we see how the souls are growing, ever upward past the dawn star. Darkest night will never capture those who walk beneath the lantern that was set by Christ. In raptures have our saints recovered phantoms. Mani of the moon, the mirror, spoke his priest, a silver sliver of the lamp which lovers worship, shines the light on true believers. Brings to mind the Bodhisattva, spoke the Buddhist, of compassion, from the eastern land of ancients, where the bowl of earth was fashioned. What, pray tell, of Baha'u'llah, spoke at once the latest wise one. He's accepted all the others, gone before, the way is union. This, you see, revealed the rabbi, charts a line which roughly follows down through time a line of prophets, give or take a right-tongued sophist. Eastern influences flourished in our land, but naught surpasses, now or ever, true Kabbalah. Eastern scripts were ne'er so magic. Not so, claimed the Vedic master. Ours, the early bird of progress, may pass through the stages faster, incarnating ever after. Vishnu here, the force outstanding, Krishna there, the force transcending. Both appear within our scripture, Bhagavad Gita, song unending. What of us? Cried out the pagans. Surely we're the lords of mystery. Since the early days of Egypt, we've survived the Western history. Those who claim that resurrection is the sole preserve of prophets, born beyond the ancients' timeline, listen well and don't forget it. Old Osiris, dead, then risen. Great Demeter's daughter, risen. Dionysus next was risen, then the Orphic bard was risen. Thus the voices reached a clamour, each had made his case with vigour, each revealed his spirit's armour, each declared his god's the bigger. So the shaman stepped amongst them. Let us settle this forever, lest in man is made a schism, rending woman, child and creature. On his drum he rolled a rhythm, challenged all to meet his maker, clear of conscience visit heaven, then return, not less nor greater. As the beat rolled on, relentless, 9, the listeners, reached inside them. sought to find their soul connection straight unto the gate of heaven. First to fly the Sufi mystic, with his coat of many colours, made a spiral of his spirit, through his dance amazed the others. Where he went was felt a secret. Who'll rise next, the shaman wondered. So the rabbi brought his deepest spark to life and upward wandered. Then the pagans pressed to vino, bowls of grapes, and drank the contents, chewed the leaves which brought the dream world, through the skies their wakened souls sent. Next up went the Persian preacher, he who knew the truth was deeper than the other side of reason, flew he swift to find his teacher. On their cloud the Grail men pondered, long the wish to not be tempted, then at last was just persuaded. As he left, the clouds were emptied. With a palm pressed firmly downward, both his legs across its centre, did the prince a pauper summon, earth to witness, heaven entered. Laughing with delight, the Veda sang into the air a summons, brought a vehicle named Vimana, flew at once upon the sunbeams. By the ray which crossed the cosmos, did the moon and he who loved it find in space the truth dimension, past the dipper, starry seven. Seeing how the rest succeeded, so the ninth himself was certain that he'd reach his destination up beyond the sky-drawn curtain. On the earth the shaman shifted shape and let his song be silence. Thus was set a leopard spirit loose amongst the emerald forest. Just beneath his leafy carpet slipped a serpent, shedding softly all its skin. This eerie presence passed them by, the nine in heaven. Knew the souls of all the sages, those who heard within the silence purest notes of timeless music. Golden was the sound of silence. Soon the leopard reached the edges, crossed the deep green emerald forest, looked up at the sky of sapphire, saw the eagle, called in spirit. So the bird did swoop upon it, took the soul within the leopard, lifted it beyond the forest, past the clouds, ascending skyward. From the greatest heights a creature of the world might reach the eagle, spied a movement on the carpet over earth and dived to reach it. Deep within the endless ocean swam the dolphin, swift in motion. With a haunting cry the seeking spirit felt its wisdom speaking. Hosts of angels sang a promise, here's eternal bliss in heaven. More than all they dared to dream of, heard the sages all around them. Music of the highest order, tones of never-ending beauty, filled the dolphin's soul completely, so it rose back into ether. Now the circling bird, so patient, dived again to catch the spirit, as it reached for air transpiring at the dolphin's exhalation. All at once the ones in heaven heard an instrument of glory, sounding far beyond their memories, rolling out the timeless story. Not a thing would they remember of the secrets of the music, except that it was more than wisdom, more than knowledge, all that truth is. As their consciousness grew thinner, so the eagle scanned the mountains, till it spied a pair of antlers, saw the stag to bear the spirit. Folded wings became an arrow, tipped with plumes of golden feathers. Startled though the stag was, doubtless, is the soul that leapt upon it. By the silver moon of Mani did the stag with spirit wander, cross the deep green emerald forest, there to find the shaman's body. By the campfire dying embers glowed just like the sun does setting. Wakened by a moth, the shaman tapped his drum to reach the sages. Piled high upon the fire, dried up leaves and tinder branches blew upon the peaceful faces of the sages' smoke whilst dancing. Lifeless seemed the ones before him, saw the shaman, none were breathing, but were bathed in light of silver. All around them stars were gleaming. "What's the use?" spoke out the shaman. Each set out to meet his maker. Now on earth are whitewashed spirits, blown-out minds who seem as strangers. And I see the thrall of blissful states is tempting to remain there, lying still in deep hypnosis, thinking not, they're quite unconscious. Chanted then the single shaman, words record his greatest magic, brought from yonder plain of dreaming, 7 sages from the heaven. Make a circle, watch the fire, round it form a chain together. Listen, hear, the holy drum speaks, rhythm forms, the sacred heart beats. Thus they made a single circle, round the glowing pile of embers. Let the dream drums recall the rhythm of the heart that time remembered. We're as one, they spoke in chorus, though the paths we followed differed. There was but one destination, now united are the nations. As the shaman tapped his deerskin drum, he spoke aloud his thinking. What became of those 2 fellows, those who still remain in heaven? From the deep green emerald forest, stepping softly came a figure, made of light, a horseback rider. In one hand he bore an object. One returns, spoke out the shaman. He could tell a pretty story, judging by the hand that's holding, stuff of splendour, history's glory. Robed in silence, 7 sages watched the horseman drawing nearer, saw the object clear as crystal, then exhaled the breath of ages. So are 8, but who has knowledge, whereof number 9 is waiting, spoke the shaman, at which moment something stirred within the forest. Light of limb and swathed in mystery, dazzling in the emerald darkness, stepping soft upon the carpet, came the 9th and moved amongst them. Sat she down beside the fire, peaceful as the moon at midnight, as the 8 in spellbound wonder took her as their inspiration. Eyes that once were blind in wisdom opened then to something greater. How it happened, none could fathom, how the 9th became this lady. So there is the greatest mystery, free of time and made immortal, born to hold the key of history, she who dared step through the portal.